Ja Morant isn't being traded, at least not yet, but after a wild locker room fight with his own teammates, the Memphis Grizzlies are now listening to trade offers for their franchise star. The tension exploded after a heated argument between Morant and teammate Vince Williams Jr. during the team trip to Berlin on January 14, 2026, and the Berlin blow-up has fans buzzing like crazy. That day, the Grizzlies had a shoot-around in Berlin before facing the Orlando Magic for the NBA Berlin games. But instead of smooth practice vibes, chaos broke out. Video footage caught Morant and Williams Jr. in a fiery face-off that lasted nearly a minute and a half, pure intensity. In the clip, both players are seen pointing, gesturing, and barking at each other before team staff had to step in and separate them fast. The footage, first posted on X by user Sangal.soy, shows Morant rocking a white shirt and green sneakers while staring down Williams, who's in a number 5 practice jersey clutching the basketball tight. You can see other players and coaches in the background, with Dragon and Tissot logos flashing behind them, watching the whole thing go down. Fan accounts and lip readers claim the argument started over a practice play gone wrong, but the energy shows there's been tension building for a while. Whatever was said between them, one thing's clear: the Memphis locker room isn't as calm as it looks. Reportedly, Ja Morant snapped back saying, "It is what it is. You don't mess with me, I don't mess with you. What? And that's when Vince Williams Jr. supposedly fired back, "Let's go to the back." Morant didn't back down for a second, shouting, "Why? I'm right here. I'm right here. You've been here for 5 minutes. You not like that, bro." Things got loud, fast, and witnesses said the tension was palpable. Even though no punches were thrown, people nearby said Williams kept gesturing toward the locker room like he wanted to settle things privately. But Morant refused to move, demanding to handle it right there on the court in front of everyone. It was a straight-up pride battle, and both guys were standing their ground hard.
Since the reports that the Grizzlies were listening to trade offers for you, which they had been explicit in the past, they were not doing that. So what was your reaction to the news, and do you think that you will remain with the Grizzlies past the trade deadline?
You said what my reaction was?
Yes, sir.
Live with it.
What makes this whole scene even messier is the timing. It all went down just one day before Morant was supposed to talk to the media about ESPN's report from insider Shams Charania on January 9, 2026. That report dropped a bomb, claiming the Memphis Grizzlies were listening to trade offers for their 2-time All-Star point guard. This was the first time Memphis had ever openly considered trading Morant since drafting him 2nd overall back in 2019. Then, during a press conference in Berlin on January 14th, Morant was asked directly about the trade talk. Reporters wanted to know how he felt about the team possibly moving him, even though the franchise had always said he was untouchable. When pressed on whether he expected to stay in Memphis past the February 5th trade deadline, Morant coolly dodged the question, keeping everyone guessing what's really going on behind the scenes. The phrase, "live with it," has now become the signature quote of Ja Morant's entire situation. 2 short words loaded with frustration, disappointment, and just a spark of defiance. Those 3 words hit different, showing a man caught between regret and rebellion.
And then do you think that you will be with the team past the trade deadline?
I'm the only one you asked that question to?
Oh, no, but I mean, you're
Who
in
else you
front of the
asked?
microphone too.
Who else you asked?
About talking to the people who run the team.
What they said?
You gotta let me type the story first.
All right, next question.
Morant ended up sitting out the January 15th game against Orlando with a right calf contusion, adding to the rough stretch of his season. So far, he's only played 18 games, putting up 19 points a night on a career-low 40% shooting, a serious dip for a player of his caliber. Meanwhile, the Grizzlies are 17-22 overall and surprisingly steady without him, going 10-9 when he's been sidelined. Fans can't help but notice the team's resilience, and that's only fueling more questions. So far, no official statements have come from Morant, Williams, or the Grizzlies about what really went down in Berlin, but that footage is out there, and the online talk hasn't stopped for a second. Some people say it's just fiery competitiveness between teammates, while others think it's proof of something way deeper breaking down inside the locker room. The real story probably lies somewhere in between, but either way, the tension is undeniable. That Berlin blow-up with Vince Williams Jr. didn't just come out of nowhere. To truly understand how things got this messy, you have to rewind to earlier in the 2025-26 season when Morant reportedly clashed with rookie head coach Zalo.
Where the offense should be focused.
Yeah, because style of play as it relates to you.
No, it doesn't matter to me. I just feel like as long as we playing the right basketball, I don't care who's the offense, is built around or for. For me as the point guard, I just go out there and do my job. The job is not for me to score 30. It's to make everybody around me better.
The Grizzlies had shaken things up after parting ways with Taylor Jenkins, bringing in Zalo, a name most fans barely knew in NBA circles, to lead a team built entirely around Morant's explosive style and star power. But from the jump, the chemistry was off. The transition wasn't smooth at all, and behind the scenes, tension was quietly brewing, until it finally burst into public view in dramatic fashion. After a crushing loss to the Los Angeles Lakers in late October or early November 2025, Ja Morant made headlines for all the wrong reasons. Instead of owning the defeat, he turned his frustration toward the Grizzlies coaching staff during his post-game interview, and his words hit like a thunderbolt, with sharp phrases like, "Go ask the coaching staff," and hints that his playing time was being restricted by poor coaching decisions. It was clear something was seriously off between him and rookie head coach Zalo. Those comments didn't just stir the media, they set off a firestorm inside the team. According to multiple sources, what followed was a very loud and ugly confrontation between Morant and Zalo in front of the entire locker room. But instead of backing down, Zalo reportedly went straight at his superstar, challenging his leadership, attitude, and effort in front of everyone. That moment became a line in the sand, one that could either pull the team together or completely tear it apart. The Grizzlies wasted no time showing who was in charge. The organization handed Morant a one-game suspension for conduct detrimental to the team, a rare and public move for a franchise player. But this wasn't just about discipline. It was a message. Memphis was making it clear that no one, not even their star, was above accountability.
I mean, my job is to play basketball, man. So I try to stay out those convos and stuff as much as possible. Continue to leave it to the higher-ups. If I feel like if I get into that, it's a lot more that's comes my way. So I just try to keep that pressure out the way.
Still, the damage was done. Reports say the fallout only made things worse behind the scenes. Morant began to feel cut off and alienated as teammates were quietly told to give him space after the suspension. That distance only deepened the divide that had already been growing for months. According to ESPN's Tim McMahon, by this point, Morant's relationship with the Grizzlies had hit a breaking point, so fractured that insiders began whispering that his time in Memphis might be nearing its dramatic end. Untenable, that's the word insiders are using, and it's a heavy one, especially when it's being used to describe the relationship between Ja Morant and the very team that once believed he'd bring multiple championships to Memphis. The clash with head coach Zalo didn't just expose tension, it highlighted a deeper, ongoing problem that's been bubbling under the surface all season. Sources say Morant's frustration has been showing in plain sight, walking away during timeouts, arguing about playing time, and openly questioning game strategy. Those moments of pushback perfectly match the growing reports of mutual dissatisfaction between Morant and the front office. It's not just one argument anymore, it's a full-on pattern of disconnect. Looking back, the cracks were visible even earlier. During his exit interview last season, Morant was asked about how much input he wanted in roster moves, and his response seemed calm at the time. He said he preferred to stay out of front office business, but now that statement feels almost ironic because the latest reports make it clear he's clashing with nearly every major decision-maker in the organization.
You obviously had a frustrating season with injuries, including getting undercut twice while in the air. Nothing you can do about that. But is there anything you feel is in your control to try to alleviate the injury issue going forward?
I felt like every injury I had this year was out of my control.
The coaching confrontation also pulled back the curtain on something bigger: how the Grizzlies have struggled to truly unlock Morant's talents within their system. During that same exit interview, he spoke about playing selfless basketball and focusing on the team's offense as a whole. But behind closed doors, the vibe was very different. The public image of unity just doesn't line up with what's happening internally. Whether the tension comes from differences in playing style, personality clashes, or something much deeper inside the organization, one thing's certain: the bond between Ja Morant and the Grizzlies is hanging by a thread. The phrase, "he holds everybody accountable," hits different now, because that same accountability might have been too heavy for Ja Morant to handle. Some insiders think the clash with Coach Omazalo was bound to happen from day one, the moment a strict new coach walked in and demanded discipline from a player who had grown used to running things his own way. The collision of those two forces was only a matter of time. But there's another layer to this story: the injuries. You can't talk about Morant's possible exit from Memphis without mentioning the constant health struggles that have haunted his career. What used to be one of the NBA's most electric, jaw-dropping point guards has now become the center of uneasy comparisons to players like John Wall and Derrick Rose, stars whose bodies couldn't keep up with their incredible talent. The numbers don't lie, and they paint a worrying picture. Since the 2023-24 season, Morant has suited up for just 77 regular season games, not even a full season and a half's worth. That's brutal for a player the Grizzlies built their entire franchise around. Availability isn't just a stat anymore, it's a crisis. You can't chase championships when your cornerstone can't stay on the floor. This year's been especially rough. The right calf contusion that kept him out of the Berlin game against Orlando is just the latest addition to a long list of setbacks. Morant only appeared in 18 games this season, putting up 19 points per game, but on a career-low 40% shooting. Even worse, his three-point shot has fallen off completely, making him harder to fit into a league that's now ruled by spacing and long-range shooting. For a player once known for highlight reel dunks and fearless energy, it's a harsh reality, and it's forcing both Morant and Memphis to face a painful question: is this the beginning of the end of his time as the face of the franchise? During his exit interview last season, Ja Morant didn't dodge the injury questions. He faced them head-on with his usual blunt honesty. He explained that most of his injuries come from physical contact, moments when he's in mid-air, gets undercut, and lands awkwardly. For a player who lives above the rim, those kinds of falls are almost impossible to avoid. On the surface, that defense makes sense, but the deeper issue isn't about one bad landing, it's about perception. Over time, all those injuries have started to build a narrative that Ja Morant can't shake off. Multiple outlets have labeled him as injury-prone, and that tag sticks hard in the NBA world. It's not just about his body anymore, it's about his value. That label drags down his trade worth and makes teams think twice about giving up big assets to get him. Even the Grizzlies' own track record this season has complicated how people see Morant's true impact. While he's been sidelined, Memphis has gone 10-19, nearly the same as when he's on the court. That stat has fans and analysts split right down the middle. Some say it's proof of how deep and adaptable the roster is. Others claim it's a red flag. Maybe Morant's influence isn't as dominant as everyone once believed. And now the trade rumors are louder than ever. Betting markets have even jumped in, with Polymarket listing a 69% chance that Morant gets traded before the February 5th deadline.
Ja, during Media Day earlier this year, you said this was the happiest you have been. A happy Ja is a scary Ja. I was just wondering where your mindset is coming after, this season.
I wouldn't say I'm not happy because I'm able to do, what I love, at the highest level every day. But I'm not happy that I was not able to be out there as much as I would like to, for my team. And I'm not happy that we weren't able to, achieve our goal. But like I said earlier, like, it's positive in everything. And I know what this offseason looks like for me already, and it just made me excited to go into next season.
That number shows just how convinced people are that Memphis might decide to move him before another injury drags down his market value completely. The financial side of all this adds more pressure because keeping a superstar who can't stay healthy isn't just risky, it's expensive. Every missed game, every tweak, every setback, it all chips away at both his reputation and the franchise's future plans. The financial situation around Ja Morant makes any potential trade a major gamble. He's earning about $39.4 million this season, with 2 more years and roughly $87 million still owed, a massive chunk of any team's payroll. On top of that, he's set to become extension eligible this summer, which only adds more layers of chaos into the mix. Any front office even thinking about trading for him has to crunch those numbers hard before making a move. According to Kelly Iko of Yahoo Sports, Morant is reportedly aiming for a max extension by next summer. But that's where things get tricky, because that goal exposes a huge gap between how Morant sees himself and how the rest of the league might actually value him right now. A team taking him on wouldn't just be inheriting a giant contract. They'd also be taking on the pressure to invest hundreds of millions more in a player whose health has been anything but reliable. And that's not just about salary, it's about risk. Morant's body has betrayed him too many times, and those injuries are now showing up in his game. His shooting numbers across the board have dropped to career lows, a sign that either his injuries are still lingering or that his once blazing athleticism is starting to fade earlier than anyone expected. The same fearless energy that made him a human highlight reel in Murray State, the dunks, the wild drives, the gravity-defying hang time, is slowly being replaced by a more cautious, controlled style of play. It's like he's trying to protect himself, but in doing so, he's not quite the same electric force he used to be. When asked about his mindset after another injury-heavy season, Morant admitted he's frustrated, but insists he's staying positive, still believing he can bounce back and prove he's worth every dollar teams are scared to spend. That so-called optimism from Ja Morant suddenly feels empty now. What was supposed to be a fresh, exciting comeback has twisted into something way darker. Trade rumors, locker room fights, and clashes with the coaching staff. The happy Ja who once lit up Memphis with energy and confidence has become the center of an NBA cautionary tale, a reminder of just how fragile athletic greatness can be when chaos takes over. Now the whole league is buzzing with one burning question. Where could Ja Morant end up next? Teams across the NBA are circling, each trying to figure out if the reward of landing a 2-time All-Star is worth the mountain of risk that comes with him. From his injuries to his off-court tension, the decision isn't simple. It's a full-on gamble. According to insider Shams Charania, the Grizzlies have made their demands clear. They want draft picks and young talent in exchange for their frustrated franchise player. But sources say the potential return might not be anywhere near what you'd expect for a star of Morant's caliber. Don't expect a blockbuster haul with multiple first-rounders. Memphis might have to lower the bar if they really want to move him. Some around the league are already comparing this situation to Trae Young's recent trade, which was described as more of a salary-focused deal than a full rebuild move. That comparison hints that Memphis might face the same reality, getting value without getting a massive package of future assets. Still, one team has everyone talking, the Miami Heat. They've quietly emerged as the most interesting possible landing spot, with reports saying Miami's front office is intrigued by the idea of reviving Morant's career in South Beach. If any franchise loves a redemption story, it's the Heat. And if this deal happens, it could be the wildest twist in Morant's roller coaster season yet. All signs are pointing towards a real spark between Ja Morant and South Beach. Rumors are flying that this might not be just speculation. There's some genuine mutual interest brewing.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, with this season, like Zach Kleiman just said, he feels like, y'all weren't close, at the end of the season. When you look at, what y'all had in the locker room and kind of assisted, how close do you think the Grizzlies are to get back to, being at a championship level?
Honestly, say it depends on us and what we want and what we want to do, and if everybody's bought in. That plays a lot in being ready and not being ready.
The buzz hit overdrive when reports surfaced showing Morant had quietly purchased a $3.2 million home in Miami through a trust around late December 2025. The mansion sits just 20 minutes from the Kaseya Center, home of the Heat, and that timing couldn't be more suspicious. Fans instantly connected the dots and started asking, is Ja already planning his next move? Adding to the smoke, Kelly Iko of Yahoo Sports dropped more context linking Morant to Miami. According to his sources, Morant has a ton of respect for Heat head coach Erik Spoelstra, who also happens to lead Team USA. And get this, Morant reportedly has his eyes set on representing the US at the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. The idea of learning under Spoelstra now, both in the NBA and on Team USA, makes Miami a dream setup for him. But there's more. The Heat's veteran culture might be exactly what Morant needs. After years of drama and instability, the disciplined, championship-minded locker room in Miami could be the kind of structure he's been missing. The presence of established veterans and that Heat culture accountability reportedly appealed to him in a big way. Still, things aren't moving fast though, at least not yet. Reporter Anthony Chang revealed that preliminary talks have taken place between the Heat and Grizzlies about Morant's availability. However, his sources describe those discussions as not escalating, with one even calling Miami's connection to Ja premature. So, while the interest feels real, Miami's front office seems to be doing their homework carefully before making a move. Even with all the smoke, the house, the respect for Spoelstra, and the Olympic dreams, the big question remains, does Ja truly fit into the Heat's no-nonsense system, or is this just another chapter in his unpredictable saga? The Miami Heat system under Erik Spoelstra needs grit, discipline, and selfless defense, qualities Ja Morant hasn't consistently shown in Memphis lately. Spoelstra's Heat culture expects every player to buy in, and that's where the questions start. Could Morant actually thrive in a system that gives zero room for ego? And then there's the trade math. Any serious offer from Miami would likely have to include Tyler Hero or other key assets, which means the Heat would be giving up real firepower for a player who's still a huge question mark right now. That's a risky play, especially when you factor in the injuries, the contract, and the off-court drama swirling around him. But Miami's not the only team sniffing around. Other franchises have popped up in the rumor mill, and some of them could really shake things up if they pull the trigger. The Sacramento Kings are reportedly eyeing Morant as a possible piece to create a stacked, guard-heavy backcourt that could finally push them deeper in the West. The Milwaukee Bucks have also been mentioned in early talks. A potential pairing of Morant and Giannis would be wild to watch. Still, insiders are skeptical since both are ball-dominant players, which could make the chemistry tricky on offense.
I had them figured out. And going out, game 3, not being able to play was frustrating because that win right there could have made this totally different. I felt like we'll be on our way to OKC. Series tied 2-2 right now.
Then there's the Toronto Raptors, who've appeared in a few mock trades involving Emmanuel Quickley and future draft picks. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Clippers have been loosely linked to exploratory discussions, and both the Chicago Bulls and Minnesota Timberwolves have been named as background suitors, though with less serious traction so far. The problem? Morant's trade value isn't what it used to be. Teams are wary of his injury history, which has scared off multiple front offices. His career-low shooting numbers, both from the field and beyond the arc, raise major doubts about whether he can succeed in systems that rely heavily on spacing and efficiency. And it's not just the on-court stuff. His recent behavioral issues, including that team suspension for conduct detrimental to the group, have made executives even more cautious. Morant's talent is undeniable, but right now, he's a high-risk, high-reward gamble that not every franchise is willing to take. Joe Varden of The Athletic dropped a bombshell. According to his report, Ja Morant is furious about all the trade chatter. He's allegedly told at least 2 teammates and even a few other players around the league that he's done with Memphis and wouldn't suit up for them again. If that's true, this isn't just rumor season anymore, it's crisis mode. That revelation instantly flipped the narrative from speculation to urgency. The situation now mirrors the drama surrounding Jimmy Butler's messy exit last year, when his refusal to play and public disconnection forced his team into a quick, desperate fire sale. The comparison isn't lost on fans or insiders. Both cases show how fast things can fall apart once the trust between a star and the organization disappears. Even so, Morant hasn't officially gone public with a trade request, at least not yet. Meanwhile, the Grizzlies are keeping the door open, saying they're still willing to keep him if no solid offer comes in before the February 5th trade deadline. It's a tense standoff, both sides watching each other closely, waiting to see who's going to make the next move first. But the financial puzzle here makes things even trickier. Morant's massive salary means any team that wants him would have to send back major contracts just to make the trade math work. On top of that, Memphis isn't going to give him away. They still want real assets in return, like young players and draft picks. Trying to balance all that makes a clean deal almost impossible. So now everything's hanging in limbo. The clock is ticking toward the deadline, but there's no guarantee anything actually happens. If no deal materializes, both Morant and the Grizzlies could be stuck with each other for the rest of the season, trapped in a strained, uncomfortable partnership defined by tension, frustration, and a whole lot of uncertainty. In his last exit interview, Ja Morant was asked how close the Grizzlies were to truly competing for a championship. His answer came with a warning: if everybody's bought in. Back then, it sounded like leadership talk, but now, those words hit completely different. The locker room he was talking about has since unraveled, with suspensions, heated confrontations, and dirty laundry spilling out into the public that teams usually keep locked tight behind closed doors. The Grizzlies are now standing at a crossroads, and every choice comes with serious consequences. Trading Morant would be a public admission that their championship dream with him at the center is over, or maybe it was never really alive to begin with. But keeping him means doubling down on a fragile relationship and gambling that his body, attitude, and focus can hold up long enough to make that massive investment worth it. General manager Zach Kleiman recently admitted that this season's performance wasn't good enough and said the organization has to stay open-minded about its roster plans. On the surface, that sounds like standard GM talk, but read between the lines and it's clear he's facing a make-or-break decision about the entire direction of the franchise. Do they start fresh and rebuild around Jaren Jackson Jr.? Do they stack up assets and bide their time waiting for the next big superstar to become available? Or do they take one last shot at repairing things with Morant, the same explosive but unpredictable talent they poured everything into developing? The stakes couldn't be higher. Even after all the chaos, Morant's past comments about the playoff loss that ended last season still show one thing: he hasn't lost faith in himself. He still believes he's that guy who can carry a team to the top. Maybe too much. That confidence once inspired Memphis. Now it might be the very thing pulling them apart. That confidence of Ja Morant's now walks a fine line. Some call it self-belief, others call it straight-up delusion. Considering everything going on, it's hard to ignore how wild it sounds. Here's a player who's battled constant injuries, clashed with teammates and coaches, and watched his shooting stats drop to career lows, yet he still insists he had the other team figured out. Whether that's the mindset of a determined competitor or someone detached from reality depends entirely on who you ask. Social media has given fans a glimpse into Morant's headspace lately, and it's not exactly calm. After the Berlin altercation, he dropped some cryptic posts online. One of them reading, "When that smoke clear over, only ones who love gon' round." Those words hit heavy, sounding like a man wrestling with feelings of betrayal, isolation, and the harsh truth that his circle might be shrinking fast. It's raw emotion laid bare for everyone to see. Meanwhile, the bigger NBA picture is shifting fast, and it's making the situation even more complicated. Over in the Eastern Conference, where the Miami Heat are based, injuries to other top contenders have blown the race wide open. A healthy Morant alongside Bam Adebayo could instantly make Miami one of the most dangerous duos in the league, giving them a legitimate shot at the conference crown. The fit might be risky, but the potential? Crazy high. But back in the Western Conference, where the Grizzlies are fighting to stay relevant, things are getting tougher by the day. Up-and-coming squads like Houston and Oklahoma City have taken major steps forward, tightening the race and leaving Memphis scrambling for ground. Even if Morant stays, their climb back to contention now looks steeper than ever. So while Ja Morant's confidence hasn't wavered, the world around him has changed completely. And whether that bold self-belief saves his career or drags it deeper into turmoil is the million-dollar question everyone is waiting to see answered.
Teams like the Sacramento Kings have a tough decision to make. Does bringing in Ja Morant actually make them better, or are they just trading one set of problems for another wrapped in flashier highlights? The same question hangs over the Milwaukee Bucks, who'd have to figure out if pairing two ball-dominant stars like Morant and Giannis Antetokounmpo would create unstoppable chemistry or total chaos. Every team considering him has to ask the same thing: are they getting a savior or a storm? For Morant, whatever happens next could be the turning point of his entire career. This is his chance to rewrite the story, to either reinvent himself and silence the critics, or to prove the doubt is right and cement his name in the cautionary tales of wasted potential. The skill is still there, nobody questions that. When he's healthy and locked in, he's one of the most explosive guards in the game. But the real challenge is whether any team can build an environment that keeps him focused, disciplined, and consistent while managing all the chaos that follows him. The problems on the court haven't gone anywhere. His defense still needs serious work, his shooting struggles continue to hold him back, his injuries keep stacking up, and those clashes with teammates and coaches, they've all been noted. Even the off-court controversies from earlier in his career, while not dominating headlines now, still linger quietly in the background of every front office discussion. Those memories don't fade easily in the NBA. Yet, there's one thing keeping hope alive. Ja Morant is still only 27 years old, turning 27 later this year. History's shown that even the most turbulent careers can be turned around. Kobe Bryant was once labeled uncoachable before maturing into a 5-time champion and ultimate leader. Chris Paul went through multiple messy exits before finally finding redemption and success with new teams. Morant's at that same crossroads now, and what he does next will decide whether he joins the legends who bounced back or becomes another what-could-have-been story in NBA history. The path forward is there for Ja Morant, but only if he's willing to take it. The clock is ticking fast toward the February 5th, 2026 trade deadline, and one way or another, decisions are about to be made. Morant will either start a brand new chapter somewhere else or stay in Memphis under circumstances that look more unstable by the day. One thing's crystal clear now: the relationship between Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies will never be the same again. Everything that's happened, the Berlin altercation, coaching confrontation, the public frustration, the trade rumors, it's all piled up into one messy, explosive situation that no one seems able to control anymore. The idea of just moving on like nothing happened, completely unrealistic. The tension has built to a point where staying the same feels impossible. The Ja Morant saga perfectly captures the messy reality of modern NBA superstar culture. A franchise putting all its chips on a once-in-a-generation athlete, only to watch the relationship crumble under the pressure of injuries, ego, and constant drama. What was once pure excitement has turned into a case study in how quickly things can fall apart when control slips away. That viral Berlin video of Morant and Vince Williams Jr. wasn't just a random flare-up. It was the breaking point of something that had been simmering for months. The root of it goes all the way back to the blow-up with rookie head coach Oma Zakalo, the suspension that followed, and the string of injuries that left Morant sidelined and frustrated. Add in the career-low shooting numbers, the moody press conferences, and those cryptic posts online, and you've got a full picture of a star and a team completely out of sync. Now, both sides are stuck in a cycle of dysfunction that feels almost impossible to escape. Whether Morant finds a fresh start somewhere new or somehow makes peace in Memphis, one thing's undeniable: this story has already changed his legacy forever. February 5th is coming fast. NBA trade deadline, the moment when all the talk turns into action. The Memphis Grizzlies can't delay it any longer. A decision has to be made. Either Ja Morant packs up for a new city, maybe Miami, maybe Sacramento, maybe even Milwaukee,
or he stays put with a franchise that's already admitted it's taking calls for their once untouchable star. But the truth is, no matter what happens, there's no clean ending here. If he's traded, Morant faces the unknown, a new system, new expectations, and the pressure to prove that his health, focus, and spark aren't gone for good. But if he stays, he'll have to survive a fractured locker room, a tense relationship with his coach, and a fan base that's starting to question whether the magic can ever come back. The only thing certain is this: the Ja Morant that started this season isn't the Ja Morant we're seeing now. Something deep has shifted. Maybe it's growth, maybe it's downfall, but one way or another, the story of this season will define who he becomes next. And those two words from Berlin, "live with it," might end up being the perfect summary of his entire journey. Whether it breaks him or transforms him, we're watching a career hit its biggest turning point right in front of our eyes. If you've been following this wild ride, make sure you like, share, and drop a comment with your thoughts below. Do you think Ja's story ends in redemption or regret? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more breaking updates, drama, and deep dives into the NBA's biggest stories. See you in the next video, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.